Hello and welcome to the Archery Show. We're here at stage 3 of the Hyundai Archery World Cup in Paris, so perhaps I should say bonjour and bienvenue. It's the host city for the next Olympic and Paralympic Games here in Paris, and we are down to the final 4 in the compound and recurve disciplines. They're going to take place at the Château de Vincennes. It's a fantastic location that we can't wait to look forward to. It's been a month since Gwangju in Korea and the last stage of the Hyundai Archery World Cup, where we saw Korea for the first time in a while. I'm joined by Nikki Hunt. Nikki, back in Korea, let's just take a little quick look back. Mike Schlusser from the Netherlands took his second stage win. He'd already qualified in Antalya, and Kim Yoon-hee took the women's compound, the Korean. And it was 2 Koreans in the recurve as well, Kim Woo-jin and Choi Mi-sun, who all qualified for the finals. That's what it's all about. Any particular thing or highlights that came out from Gwangju?
I think it was just great to see that Korean team back on the circuit. We've really missed them, and 3 of the 4 gold medals taken by Korea shows how much we have missed them.
Yeah, but we are here in Paris, and we are looking forward to the action coming up. Compound Saturday, of course, tomorrow 2 live sessions, followed by recurve Sunday. This is the elimination stage you can see behind us. We look ahead to the final 4. Let's look at the compound women lineup. Ella Gibson of Great Britain, Maria Schollner of Luxembourg, Sophie Dodemont of France, and Jyoti Sareka Venom from India. Overall thoughts?
Yeah, so Sophie and Jyoti, obviously very highly consistent performers. I think Maria would be happy to have got into that final 4 on this occasion, and Ella is in really fine form.
Yeah, she certainly is. The compound men's lineup, the final 4 there: Nicolas Girard from France, Braden Gelantine from the USA, Jean Pissarro from Puerto Rico, and Anders Faugstad from Norway. That's an interesting lineup.
It is, yeah. I mean, 3 of those have been really consistent of late, but one standout for me there, Gelantine.
Yeah, I think he does stand out in the crowd. It'll be interesting, that one. The recurvers will compete again on Sunday, and they've only just finished qualification, actually, about an hour ago. The final 4 for the recurve women is Peng Chia Mao from Chinese Taipei, Choi Mi-sun again from Korea, Penny Healy from Great Britain, and Agu Itanu from Japan. Anything standing out there for you? I think I know what you're going to say.
I mean, 3 really strong Asians in that lineup, but wow, what a surprise. A 17-year-old from Great Britain, Penny Healy, making the final 4.
Yeah, it's been a big season for Great Britain. They've done really well, but that's a tough lineup, the final 4 in the recurve women's. The final discipline that we want to look at is the recurve men. Oh Ji-hyuk from Korea, Marcus Dalmeida from Brazil, Dan Olaru of Moldova, and Kim Ji-gyok of Korea.
Yeah, I mean, we've got the chance here, haven't we, for the 2 Koreans to come through and make that gold medal match, and they've lined it up beautifully, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is that Korean all-final.
Yeah, the Koreans split across the 2 semi-finals, so if they both win, it will be an all-Korean final again. We are in Paris, so we have to have a little chat about the French team and the recurve women's team. They're really having a difficult time in the run-up to their home Olympic Games. They've just hired a Korean as the head coach, and we've talked about Korea already, and it is a process, but they left it too late.
Yeah, I mean, archery really does take time. It's a skill sport. If they are going to come in and make changes, you know, it's not an instant thing. So it'll be interesting to see. You've got qualification next year, starting for the Olympics. I mean, we had Lisa Barberlin breakthrough last year. Yeah. We really expect to see her again this year, but she hasn't quite got into the podium places yet. But there's still time.
There is, but not much, not much. But a team that's doing really well at the moment are the German recurve women's team. They've been on absolute fire recently. A gold in Antalya, a silver in Gwangju. Then they had the European Championships in Munich on home soil. They won that, and they got a bronze here yesterday. They're doing fantastically well, and we've been speaking to the entire squad about how they've been able to perform at such a high level so consistently.
The perfect archery team, it's a lot of fun to shoot with. Everyone has a passion for archery, and yes, you have to trust each other.
Charlie, it's a little bit the youth, because she was junior before, so now she's the youth of the team, and it's important to have all this fresh air.
Michelle is a good archer because yes, the the perfect words in each situation, and she can calm down her nerves in every situation.
Katarina's best quality is her mood, I think, because she's always happy, she always has the right words for you, and she just does her shots.
We are really a team because they are together. It's always 3 archers on the shooting line.
We built up a new concept many years before that we put the young ones really inside the A-team. We started the program that they could use the training camps together with the adults one, and then we put them inside a little competition, a higher competition, and so when they come from the junior side in the adult team, nothing was new for them. We had many really good years, especially with Lisa, but she starts now a new career. And on the other side, this is also a chance for a team to grow again because they see they have opportunity.
Yeah, we trained a lot, we prepared a lot while the last years, and I think we benefit from that now. We are a new team, a quite young team. We're all around in the same age, and we're having a lot of fun, and yeah, it's just nice to shoot with each other.
I think you can imagine when you have the European Championships in your country, of course it's much pressure.
We felt really exciting because the crowd was, of course, all German, and we know a lot of the people who were there. They just came to see us. It was quite awesome.
I think when we shot in Korea and saw the Korean crowd, we were like, okay, we want this in Germany. It was so nice to have all the Germans behind us, and it was super loud, super noisy, and yeah, it was just awesome.
If she does hit the 9, she puts this out of reach. Oh, she's high into the 9. It's a lovely shot from Michelle Köppen. A 26 is not gettable for Turkey on home soil in Munich. Germany, the European champions.
I'm very proud because now it's the 3rd World Cup. Now we are always in the podium and we won the European Championship, so I have a lot of respect and I'm very proud and I'm very happy. For me, I can say we are on the road for 2024 and I want that the team beat Korea in Paris.
No, we do not have a perfect team, but we have a good team and we try to get a better team.
Fascinating stuff. There's a lot to go through there. Let's start with the first thing. Very forward thinking, bringing the youth team into work with the seniors. So now they've come through the youth system. I mean, what's your general? You coach, so what are your general thoughts on bringing the youngsters in?
Yeah, I think it's excellent. You know, they're getting a taste of what it takes at the top level. We've seen this young German women's team perform really well under pressure, and they don't show those nerves, do they? They're used to it, they're part of that process. Lisa Unruh, an amazing archer they've come under as well and gained a lot of experience through her, so really important to bring the youth up.
Yeah, and often when you've got someone like Lisa Unruh who performs at the very, very highest level, you're kind of living in the shadow of it, but it sounds like the Germans have got this set up where they're basically trying to create a bit of a conveyor belt. Would that be one way of putting it?
Yeah, I mean, that's what every country wants, isn't it? If you've got that depth, new people coming through, fighting for those places is going to push each of you even harder.
And the 3 as a unit, and I think it was Katarina Bauer who was talking about the fact that they're all roughly the same age, they've all been shooting together for a very long time, that there's familiarity within that group as well, and it seems so with the coaches.
Yeah, they've become very united, haven't they? Very strong, obviously got their trust in each other, great communication, all the things they need on that shooting line. The team round, it's about that communication, it's how you work together, not just shooting your own arrows, so they've really shown that's all coming together.
And fun. They were talking about having fun. I mean, I mean, obviously it's working for them.
Yeah.
How important is that for you? And is it the same for everybody?
I think there's probably different cultural outlooks on that. For me personally, I think it's really important to have fun. The team round as well always seems to be kind of a little bit lower pressure because you've got those other people with you. And I think if you're not having fun, you're probably not doing the right thing.
Yeah. Last thing about the team, and it was the last thing that was said on that video, is that the coach saying that they're not the perfect team. They're a good team. He did say, we're a good team, but they're looking at the future and they're looking at that performance trajectory still continuing upwards.
Yeah, I mean, what is perfect? And I think in archery that's a bit of a double-edged sword anyway. We want to stay away from perfectionism, but you can see how he's pushing them on to get the best out of them, and they really are improving.
Yeah, they really are a really fascinating team to look at. Now, we got a little bit of big news coming up a little bit later on, but we've also got another piece of news. Unfortunately for us, Nikki Hunt is moving on to pastures new. I think you are coming back for one last event this season, but perhaps you'd like to tell everyone why you're not going to be with us on the archery show and for much of the live coverage.
Yeah, so I've taken a role with Archery GB as performance coach, so I'll be working alongside my former teammate Naomi Foulcard and attending the events with the Great Britain team, coaching them. So yeah, I won't be on the sofa with you much longer, Karim.
Many congratulations for the job. That's great news for you. And does that mean that the next stage we're going to have you as our live guest?
We'll see if we can make that happen.
Yeah. Well, look, let's go back to Germany and Katharina Bauer, who's on absolutely incredible form. And Nikki, perhaps for one of the last times, it's time for you to talk us through her shot anatomy.
Yeah, so here she is at the first stage of the World Cup in Antalya against her teammate in the bronze medal match, and I just love her form. It's so simple, it's consistent, particularly her shot timing, so the time it takes for her to draw the bow, get back into anchor and make that release. It's just so fast and consistent. It's very much like the Koreans, it's how they shoot as well. And this is the last shot here for the win for the bronze medal, and she just takes about a second longer but still executes really well.
9 points.
And no wonder there was the big smile there. You mentioned Koreans and you mentioned consistency and speed and simplicity. And when you bring all those three things together, why isn't everybody doing that?
I think most people are trying to do that. Recurve is very dynamic. It's all about the shot moving continuously, micro movements, but under pressure we see a lot of people stop, slow down, aren't able to commit to the shot. They mentally just can't keep things moving. But Katharina just showing that, you know, she's mentally tough, she's mentally strong, and just commits to her shot as normal.
And you've talked about this in live coverage, and we don't often get a chance to sit down and have a proper chat about it. So I've got a million questions for you. I'll try and keep it down to just 2 or 3. Apart from the consistency, which obviously have a massive advantage, what is the benefit of shooting fast? What is the key benefit other than the consistency and hitting the 10?
I think the longer you spend at full draw, the more chance there are for things to change. So tiny little millimetres of change at the archer's end makes big errors down the far end. But more than that, probably mentally. When we get to this point, any archer can shoot a 10. But who can do it under that pressure? So if you keep the shot moving, there's very little time to think. You let the body work in its subconscious state and complete the shot that you know how to do, that you've done thousands and thousands of times before.
And you've also said it in live commentary that there's a benefit because your opponent has 0 recovery time, because what we said, draw to release 2 seconds.
Yeah, we've seen it particularly with Sara Lopez as well, haven't we? We've mentioned her in a previous shot anatomy, that there just isn't much time then for the other archer to load up, recover. It's 20 seconds each, alternating in these finals. But if you're very fast and you've already shot your arrow before your opponent's kind of loaded again, they haven't got that time to take a breath. And I know it seems funny, but we do need that kind of recovery time. It's very much a skill sport, and if you can recover fully, you're more likely then to get a good shot away.
Yeah. One last question then, Nikki, and it's for the geeks out there. So I'm going to throw this one at you, see how much attention you were paying. You mentioned to me earlier on that Katharina Bauer takes a little glance down through it, part of her process in the draw. What exactly is she looking at?
Yeah, it's a great question. So as she starts her draw, we just see her eyes drop a little bit down into the foreground. So she does have a bit of thread hanging off her long rod, and I wonder if she's just checking that on the start of the shot. She might be looking at a clicker on her bow, but it's just a little check on her bow before she completes the shot.
And the thread hanging off the stabiliser is to just see what the wind conditions are, at least on the shooting line.
That's right, yeah. So the archer can look down the range, see the flags or the windsocks down the range, but what's happening right near them is important as well.
There we go. Shot anatomy from Nikki Hunt, perhaps for more, certainly for one of the last times, but I think Nikki will be back for the finals here. We got our sad news that Nikki's leaving us, but there's been some huge news in the world of this sport. World Archery have officially submitted their application for compound archery to be included alongside recurve, not getting rid of recurve, at the Olympic Games in LA 2028. Massive, huge.
Yeah, that is an understatement. It's the pinnacle of archery is to be at the Olympics, and many archers, myself included, have tried to make that switch from compound to recurve because it's so big. To be a part of that is amazing. So quite interestingly, LA, we put the bid in at LA. The compound bow was made and designed in America, so quite fitting if it is its first appearance at the Olympics.
Yeah, massive. I was reading after, because it's only been announced today, this news. They need to make a distinction between the two disciplines. So compound archery that we're used to at these Hyundai Archery World Cups being on a 50-metre range and outdoors is actually going to be on an 18-metre range and indoors. Is it a stepping stone to perhaps getting the 50-metre compound into the Olympics?
World Archery have done a lot of work to make that difference between recurve and compound over the years. I was certainly part of that. The hit-miss system we had at 50, compound used to shoot 70. So we've changed the distance, the target face, the scoring system from raw score versus the set system. But who knows? I mean, for me, just to get it into the Olympics, to see compound archery there, to get these guys who've worked so hard on compound archers into that pinnacle event would be amazing in whatever format.
Yeah, well, best wishes to World Archery and all the supporters that want compound at the Olympic Games. That's the opinion of a former world number one. How about the opinion of the current world number one? Our special guest, our very special guest, is none other than Colombia's world number one, Sara Lopez, and she is at home at the moment. Hi, Sara, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hi, everyone.
Brilliant to have you here. Thank you very much for taking time out of training. First question's got to be about the news about compound archery being applied to being included in LA 2028. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so we have a lot of opinions. We are actually really happy to hear the news, but we're also really worried because in Latin America we don't shoot indoors at all, and we don't have places for that. So it's a worry right now because if they get approved, we have to start shooting indoors, and that's something that we don't know about. We don't practice that at all. We only do that for Vegas, and even for Vegas we shoot outdoors. So it's really confusing right now for us, but if we get to be in the Olympics, that will be amazing for our sport. But it's difficult in Latin America to be able to do that.
Yeah, sure. And you're not in Paris at the moment, so is everything okay?
Yeah, so we have the first event of the Olympic circuit in Latin America. It's called the Bolivarian Games, and right now we are in Valledupar, the city that's hosting the games, and we are training here. As you can see in the back, we are with the whole team training with the temperatures here because they are really extreme, so we have to be used to that in order to be able to do a good job at the games.
Yeah, and you've got the World Games coming up in Alabama as well. How are you preparing for that? Are you looking forward to it?
Of course, that will be my third World Games. It's an honor to be there, to be representing my country. And we have a complete team. We have a man and another archer, that's Alejandra. She's currently number 2 in the world. So we are really happy to be able to be in the top of the world and be able to compete there together. And well, as you can see, we're training for that. I think the main goal is to just do our job and expect for the best because the level is increasing, and no, I don't know, anything can happen actually there. So I just wanna do a good job and have fun.
And you said earlier on that you're training at the moment, and we can see your colleagues behind you shooting some arrows. Can you give us an idea of what your day looks like in training? How many arrows are you shooting? And I mean, the conditions look pretty good there. A few clouds in the sky, but it looks good.
So we're training in the morning and in the afternoon. The heat is horrible. We are currently at 41 Celsius degrees.
Oh.
So that's something that we don't usually have in our cities. And we are with headaches, sweating. It's really extreme. But we are currently shooting teams. As you can see, somebody is replacing me. We are really strong together. We are really happy to be here. And of course, the games are being hosted in Colombia. So we're just happy to have all the different countries here in Colombia.
I've got to ask you a little bit about this season. How have you been feeling about your performance so far? We know you haven't qualified yet for the Hyundai Archery World Cup finals. How do you feel about it at the moment?
I'm actually okay. At the beginning of the year, I was really worried because I knew that I couldn't be in Paris. So I knew I only had the chance to qualify in 2 or 3 World Cups. And I'm not doing my best, but as I said in Korea, even at my worst, I'm still being able to get points, to be in the world ranking, and to get medals. We started the year with a medal in mixed teams. So even in my lowest, I'm still there. So that's a good sign. But I'm just trying to focus on my mental health, on being happy, on technique, and just working, because it's normal that every athlete has those and downs. And it's okay. Right now I'm in a very low point, but I'm just trying to work on my happiness, on my feelings, and on my technique.
Well, we send you lots of love. I have one last question for you, though. You are the only archer to ever have won 6 Hyundai Archery World Cup finals, and you're still so young. Do you have a target before you hang up your bow? Are you going after 10, or are you not thinking about that at all?
I'm not thinking about that. I think I already made history. I always, my whole life, I admired Brady so much. And as I said last year, just being compared to him, that's incredible for me. That means I'm doing a good job. If I get 10, that's great. If I stay with 6 my whole life, that's great. If I keep doing that and winning and being there, that's great. The main goal for me is to be happy, to shoot with a smile on my face, and to wear my uniform very proudly. So if that gives me more medals, perfect. And if just with that I stop winning, that's okay too. I already did a lot in 10 years. So I just want to enjoy my time in archery and just represent my country.
Well, we're sure you're going to do much, much more. And as you say, every athlete goes through their ups and downs, and we're sure you're going to be on the way back up. Sara, thanks so much for taking time out of training to be with us. We wish you all the very best, and we look forward to seeing you in Medellin in a month or so's time.
Thank you so much for the invitation, and well, I hope I can see you again really soon.
We look forward to it. Sara Lopez there, out in Colombia, giving us her opinion not only on the Olympic Games, but what's going on with her. Nikki, I can't leave that there. I mean, amazing to hear what she was talking about. She talked about mental health. Let's get that out of the way first. She's clearly focused on improving her happiness. She said it's so important. It's become such a hot topic these days. Yeah,
absolutely. I think some of it's down to kind of perspective. When you're a full-time archer like Sara, your whole world then is around archery, and that becomes unhealthy at points. So yeah, it's really important that you look after your mental health, that you've got other things in your life that make you happy. It's not just archery, and I think more archers are probably looking into that, and general sports people are looking into that now, aren't they? Because actually having that time off, relaxation, and being happy makes you a better competitor.
Yeah, it certainly does. So, I mean, obviously it's great that she's happy to talk about that, and it's great that we're able to talk about it, but let's go back to what she said about the Olympics. Now, it's not something that we've only heard the news today, so the reaction is immediate. You can see that there's some concern there, but do you think that might be reflected in other places around the world? For example, not shooting indoors.
Yeah, I'd even kind of thought about that. We're based in Britain, so we've got a lot of indoor places because
it rains all the time.
It rains a lot and it's cold, so you can't shoot outside. But obviously Colombia are training outside all year round, and most archers see the outdoor season probably because of the Olympics, and look at all the World Cups and the grand final, everything's based outside. So it's going to be a real shift in the archers, the way they train, the way they set up their bows. There's so much probably going through these archers' heads about, blimey, what would that have the impact for me be, and how am I going to train, and what am I going to do differently as well.
Yeah, and she also talked about what's going on with her in terms of competition. 41 degrees. I wouldn't be complaining about that necessarily, but she's preparing for two clearly very important competitions, not only for her but also for Colombia. The World Games in particular is not necessarily something that every athlete from every sport goes to, but it's important to Colombia.
Absolutely. I mean, the World Games is really all the sports that are trying to get into the Olympics, literally. So that's been really key. We've got compound into that. A few years ago, I think recurve came into it first and then compound followed. So all these things that World Archery have been doing to build the sport and build the sport really, really important. And I think for any athlete, being part of a multi-sport games is just a fantastic experience.
Well, and I think the World Archery News piece about this said that the compounders consider the World Games as their Olympics.
Yeah, I think it is, along with probably the Continental Games for us here, perhaps the Commonwealth Games and the European Games now pushing on as well. So the thought of it getting in is just incredible, and can't wait to see what happens.
Well, it won't be in Paris, we are in Paris, but it won't be in the Paris Olympic Games. But qualification, you were telling me, for that begins very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So most of the qualification for the Olympic Games in Paris will be next year at the World Championships. But World Archery have changed a lot of the rules around the qualification. It's quite complicated. But now
we've got time. Go on.
Well, the world ranking is going to become more important. And so Colombia, the last World Cup of this year, is, I believe, the first world ranking event where points from that will still be relevant in the qualification for Paris. So that's quite interesting as well. Is that going to push more archers to go out to more of these events, try and pick up those world ranking points and not just focus so heavily on the World Championships?
More archers, more archery for us, so I don't see that as bad news. But now it's time for Nikki's favourite part of the archery show. It's prediction time, and we're going to go through discipline by discipline, Nikki. We'll start with the compound women's. Compound Saturday tomorrow, 2 sessions, a team event in the morning, followed by the individual final 4. We start with 4 of the 2 semi-finals and we go all the way down to a winner. The final 4 in the compound women's, one name, that's all that you're allowed this time. Ella Gibson from Great Britain, Maria Shkolner from Luxembourg, Sophie Dodemont of France, and Jyoti Sareka Venom from India. Nikki, who and why?
For this one, I think Ella Gibson. Okay, so she went out in Antalya, won the first stage, booked her final place. The pressure's off, right? I think this is the biggest thing when they're standing out there in these finals. So, yeah, for me, I think Ella's on a roll. She's going to do it. Yeah,
I think you might. Yeah, I've got an inkling you might be right there. But that second semi-final between Dodemont and Venom is arguably a very, very tough one. It'll be interesting to see who comes through that. But we go on to the compound men. Nicolas Girard from France, Braden Gelantine from the USA, Jean Pizarro from Puerto Rico, and Anders Faugstad from Norway are the final 4 in the compound men. So who and why?
This time I'm going to go for Braden Gelantine. He's already won the finals 3 times, and if you put all his medals together from all the stages, individual and team, he has got 35 golds, 17 silver and 11 bronze medals. This guy is incredible.
Yeah, he's a machine, and that experience, I don't think anyone can argue with that one. Be interesting to see that. So, recurve Sunday, we start with the women. The final 4 in the recurve women, Peng Chia Mao of Chinese Taipei, Choi Mi Sun from Korea, Penny Healy from Great Britain, the teenager, and Ago Itano from Japan. Who and why?
I think I'm going to go for Choi Mi Sun on this one. You know, she won in Korea. The first stage, the Koreans were back on the tour. Again, she has no pressure in terms of trying to make the finals, and she's an incredible archer and on a roll after the second stage.
Yeah. Strange you didn't go for Penny Healy there, but we'll come back to that. Recurve men, the lineup for the final 4 is Oh Jin-hyuk of Korea, Marcus D'Almeida from Brazil, Dan Ulleru from Moldova, and Kim Ji-dyuk from Korea. Who and why?
I'm going to go for Oh. You know, he again is an incredible archer. He was the first Korean man to win the Olympics back in 2012. He was injured at the last stage in Korea, but he's clearly better now, and again I think he's going to be on that roll to win this one.
Yeah, great comeback from him. Nikki Hunt, thank you very much for your analysis of what we're looking forward to this weekend and everything else. But that's it from us from this edition of the Archery Show. We'll be back tomorrow for Compound Saturday with live coverage starting at 10 a.m. Central European Time. We'll see you then.